Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Arctic Food Equipment. This particular episode of Savor the Ozarks is a fun one. So just a little background. My daughter Audrey, that's our youngest daughter, she is in hospitality. She graduated from Mizzou and she's now in culinary school at OTC. So she lives and works this business. So for about the third year, she and I have gone to this show together, and it's a lot of fun for me to experience it through her eyes. Well, we ran into some folks we know from the 417, Chef Mike Jalili of Flame, Char, and Black Sheep, and Aaron Gregory, who's now executive chef at SGC Food Service. And we talk to them a little bit about what they do, what they're looking for when they go to a big show like this, and how it relates to us back in the Ozarks. But there is also something that I learned in terms of how people in a very stressful food service industry decompress on the job. So tune in, wait for it, and enjoy. Okay, I ran into somebody at NRA Chicago that is no stranger to Savor the Ozarks, Mike Jalili, and the lovely Casey Jalili. Great to see you all.
Good to see you.
So it was always good to see you. Is there anything you're looking for in terms of food, drink, fixtures, lighting, furniture? What are you looking for this year?
Well, we come to this every year, and so we've seen so much that every year we come over here, we always have now we have a game plan. Okay, what are we looking for? So this year, honestly, we almost had something to look for, but I cannot say what it is. But the biggest thing that we're doing is it's just nice to get out of your your zone. You're so tunnel visioned at home, and we never go out anywhere in Springfield other than home. So you're so tunnel vision. It's kind of nice to come and see this, to open your eyes up and see different things and see what's coming new, and go to different restaurants and see what other restaurants do in a bigger city. And it kind of opened your eyes up a lot. Okay, you know what? We're doing this wrong. We're doing this wrong. We need to be doing this. We need to be doing that. So, it's bottom line, it clears your mind a lot to open up for new things. So.
Right, and there's just so much to see when you walk around. Casey, you said you guys have been here since a couple days, I guess, and you're going to stay a few more. What do you migrate to when you're here?
I migrate more.
What did you say?
Pizza.
Okay, not a bad thing.
The fresh pizza, yeah. But I also like to walk through the technology section of the show, because he's probably more focused on food. I'm more focused on what could help the restaurant run more efficiency with different systems and technology, and helping us move forward in that direction.
Well, some of the trends that they talked about in the press gathering were efficiency and working smarter, not harder. And people get freaked out because they say, oh no, automation, you're going to lose people. And they're saying, no, it's not so much automation as it is making more efficient the mundane tasks that someone spends a lot of time doing. Maybe you could put that into some kind of an automation, and your people could be up front meeting customers and making them happy. Would you agree?
Absolutely. The biggest thing, I think, in restaurant business is the worst thing is inconsistency, and the best thing is consistency. And trying to get consistency with good quality, oh my gosh, that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest job. And humans are known to be inconsistent, where machines are more consistent. So if you create something and you can do it consistently and work less, oh my gosh, I'll open more restaurants tomorrow.
Well, you've got enough now. I mean, you've got Char and Flame and Black Sheep and so much going on at your place. There was one of the booths here that had, and I don't know if you have ever seen one of these, maybe they already make it, but it had a gun like you'd see for beverages, but it had condiments in it. So if your people want mustard and ketchup, you push the buttons, hit it one button, and it just puts it on there for you. And then the next button, you're in the burger business, and you told me the burgers were harder than the rest of it.
They are. And where is that? I want to know. I want to go to there.
Okay, it's Kraft Heinz.
Okay.
And they have a really cool giant French fry chair that you can take a fun selfie in with a little ketchup packet pillow. But no, Kraft Heinz has some really cool stuff. But that was one of the things I thought was interesting was the gun that put the condiments on it. Okay, we talked about this before I started rolling, and one of the other trends was the trend toward the GLP-1 drugs. You know, Ozempic, Mounjaro. They said 9% of the U.S. population is taking those drugs, and in response to that, their appetite isn't the same. And Casey, you said you were out to dinner and you noticed the restaurant-sized portions in Chicago are different than ours at home?
Yeah, they were much smaller than what we see in our area.
That's part of the restaurant business that you have to pay attention to, is what customers are doing and what those customers want.
You know, last night where we ate, portions were about half the size of what we serve. Not steaks. I'm talking about like sides, like mac and cheese or fries or whatever. Even the fish portion were smaller, but it was more quality than quantity. It was unbelievably so good. So, I mean, you know, as long as you're serving amazing, as long as they're not too small of a portion, I think, you know, sometimes I think some of my portions are big. My fries at Black Sheep or my mac and cheese is enough for 6 people. I mean, so, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get back. But I think, as you said, people are going more towards quality than quantity.
Well, quality has never been an issue with any of the Jalili owned and operated restaurants. And I'm going to let you guys go find the pizza and the technology and all the fun stuff. But it is great to see you, Mike and Casey Jalili of Black Sheep Flame, Char, Springfield, Missouri. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love you too.
Okay, here's a little peek behind the curtain of the food industry. Toast, which is a point of sale system, has a booth here. And they also have a setup that looks like a walk-in cooler out of a restaurant. And I'm going to let my daughter Audrey tell what happens in the walk-in cooler. How did they have it set up? It was a little stress reliever.
So essentially what you would say crying in the walk-in would be, you know, you were just so upset. A lot of people who are in the industry might understand this. You're so upset, you're so angry. If you see somebody walk aggressively into the walk-in, you do not follow them because you know that they're about to have a moment. You go in there, you know, you do your thing, maybe, you know, cry over your lettuce, your tomatoes, whatever's in the walk-in at the time, you know, your prep, your speed racks, whatever. You go in there and you're either in tears or you're angry or whatever, but you need to go in there to let out some stress. But for what Toast did was they had a setup. It wasn't cold in there. It was actually pretty hot. So I didn't get the full experience, but I mean, it was pretty darn close. So it was really interesting to do that. There was a screen where it was a prompt that basically said, you know, what have you done that made you want to scream into the void, aka the walk-in? You know, and you can tell your story, or who was do you recall a story of like an absolutely insufferable guest that you just wanted to kick out, but you know you couldn't because, I mean, there was no reason, or, you know, you're just mad. So what was a moment that had you crying in the walk-in or whatever it was? So that was really fun to do. It took me a minute because there's 3 or 4 different prompts and it gives you 3 minutes per prompt.
And she was yelling at that. She was back there yelling, and then she would turn and look at me.
I was yelling into that camera. I was pointing. I was letting it all out because, I mean, what happens in the walk-in stays in the walk-in. You know, you don't talk about it, of course. I mean, if you're crying, you're upset, whatever it might be.
Okay, Mike Jalili, you are one of the finest chefs I know. You've had a walk-in moment. Come on, let's hear it.
Gosh, I did, and I'll never forget it. I worked at a Mexican restaurant in New York, and I started as a busboy. I became a bartender. Awesome, loved it. And then they said, "You want to be a manager?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" So I became a manager. I'm not kidding you. On day 1 as a manager, I went into the walk-in, closed the door, and just like she said, it's so true. I wanted to cry, and I think I did cry. And if I had a bucket from outside to bring it in to throw up in, I would have done that. I was so sick to my stomach. I was like, what have I done? This is the pressure of the guests, the pressure of the employees, the pressure of this business. I can't do this. I just stayed in there. I don't remember how long it was. I don't remember it being a cold. I just remember that I just like wanted to cry and wanted to sick to my stomach. I never forget that day.
Well, the restaurant business can do that to you, but it's like anything else. There are good moments and there are really stressful moments. So customers don't ask about the walk-in. Respect the walk-in. Employees, now we understand a little bit more about the walk-in. In TV news, it's the edit bay. Yeah, we'd have to go in the edit bay and shut the door if there was one. But anyway, yeah. So hats off to Toast for letting everybody. Mike, you might want to head back to the Toast section and just, I don't want to bring back bad memories, but you might want to go unload. So think about what's on your mind.
I'm going to go there, actually. It's funny. I never thought anybody else did that. I thought honestly, till she said something, I thought I was the only person that has done that. And I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about it. But now that it's kind of common, okay, I'll get it out. I cried. I wanted to cry like a baby.
It's an acceptable form of therapy because, I mean, you're being paid to go let it out in the walk-in. I mean, that 10 minutes or however long you spend back there, I mean, you get ample amounts of therapy just from walking back there. And it's also great to just cool off. Sometimes you're just so hot and sweaty and angry that you just want to go back there and just chill out for a second, just do it.
Well, I guess you would rather your employees go in the walk-in for 2 or 3 minutes than walk out on you.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Don't take the back door. Go in the walk-in. Stand there for a minute. Cool down, and then, you know what? After so many years I've done it, I don't feel that anymore. It's just become so natural. But that first day, like she said, oh boy.
Don't be the guest that makes your server, your bartender, your manager want to go cry in the walk-in.
Life lessons. Thanks, you guys.
Step into Arctic Food Equipment, where the spirit of American hospitality meets unmatched quality. Our Springfield showroom is open to the public and stocked with everything you need to outfit your kitchen. For over 25 years, we've been proud to serve our community with products built to last and a commitment rooted in American values. Come visit our showroom today and discover why kitchens across America trust Arctic Food Equipment. The tools you trust, the partner you deserve.
Well, lo and behold, I run into somebody else from Spring Vegas, Aaron Gregory, executive chef at SGC Food Service. Yeah, it's just always good to see you. What are you looking for at the National Restaurant Show 2025?
It's really all about ideation and things that we can bring back and help our customers. So, we are the resource to be able to bring them into our culinary center, show them new ideas, help them with labor saving, trends, all of those things. That's what we're looking at.
Who is your customer? Because people on the street don't think about what you do as much as they think about the restaurant that you supply to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So we have a lot of customers. We have tons of schools, but also we go from fine dining to bars and grills to Hispanic accounts. You name it, we do it all. So we are a broad line. We're able to help everyone. And that's where we spend a lot of our time on is helping our customers with those ideas that maybe they're not thinking of right now, or bringing those food trends to our area.
Okay, what food trends have you found here since you've been looking around?
Lots of stuff with beverages, mocktails, dirty sodas, they're everywhere. And then you see a lot of pinça, which if you're not familiar with, is a Italian pizza crust. And so it has a higher moisture content in it. So it's nice, crispy, better. I like it better than a flatbread. So pinça, delicious.
That's a new one on me. I'll be honest, Aaron. I've never heard of that. What did you say? A dirty soda? Is that what you said? What is that?
So dirty sodas, they're adding cream to it. So they're either like a coconut cream or they're adding a sweet cream, usually caramel. And it's a great way to bring in a new ideas into your establishment without getting stuck with a lot of inventory. You can do it with a lot of things you probably already have, raspberry syrups, maple syrups, and do a lot of cool stuff. And it also drives that check average up. Restaurants are looking for that. They're looking for ways to maximize their revenue.
It wasn't 20 minutes ago. Pepsi has a sugar-free, and then they made it into a s'mores.
Absolutely.
It was they had little marshmallows in it, and so almost kind of a crunch going on to give it the texture, and a little bit of a chocolate mocha. Yeah, so I know that's what you mean.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of that. Coca-Cola had one as well. I've seen it over with the slushies. They're doing lots of dessert ideas where they're putting a lot of different ingredients in there, and then it drives that foot traffic. You know, I have a younger daughter, a younger son. They love that kind of thing, you know, and that's going to help bring that younger generation into their establishment. And so we look for ideas like that we can share with that maybe they haven't thought of, right? So that's where myself and our culinary team comes in.
Okay, so if a restaurant is looking to you, how can we make our burgers better? What can we do different with our sandwiches and our beverages? As the executive chef, you get in that kitchen and you fire it up and you come up with solutions for them.
Absolutely. So what I do is I'll do a pre-screening interview with them, talk to the sales rep, figure out what kind of equipment they have, what they're currently using, what's working, what's not working, and then what I am is a consultant essentially that's able to take a look kind of at a different angle and bring them in ideas. Sometimes it's a simple fix, sometimes it's a complete overhaul. It just kind of depends on what they're looking for. And then we also try to tie the education to it of creating standard operating procedures, right? So it shouldn't matter who's cooking today. It's always the food's coming out the same, right? So it's building recipes, costing them out. Those are things that are very important that we work with our customers.
What else have you seen that turned your head this time?
I saw a really cool gluten-free chicken breader that I thought was really great. We're seeing a lot of people with allergies. So allergies, anything that can set you apart, and drive that diner in, that's something that's great. The chicken breader was a Korean style, lots of gochujangs that we're seeing. Roland had an amazing booth with a lot of great flavors that you can bring in. They had a lemon Myers curd that I thought was really cool. Yeah, lots of really neat items, lots of Wagyu out here, lots of that. So that's what we're seeing a lot that customers are looking for. And there's that implied finer dining experience when you try those things, right? If it's lemon or versus lemon curd has a perceived value that goes along with it. And at the end of the day, my philosophy is no matter what it's called, what you do with it, it's got to be delicious, right? So we've had a lot of really delicious products that we've seen since we've been out here.
I've tried a couple of things that I thought were amazing. One of them, it just sounds so simple. It was a Campbell's soup, food service soup, but it was a white cheddar cauliflower bisque that I thought was delicious. And there's a North Dakota dairy in the Taste of the States that does a black licorice ice cream. And if you don't like licorice, don't worry. Just have it. It's not the way you think it will be. So that's the fun part of this show, I think.
Absolutely. And you said it. It's the fun. It's what diners are looking for is fun. We have, only so much disposable dollars that we can use. So if we can go out there and make that a reason to come into our establishment, a reason to come into our restaurant and try things that you can't get anywhere else. That's what I look for as a diner, and as a chef, that's what I try to work with our customer base on, finding those fun, unique things that I can't go down the road and get. I can only get at your establishment that sets you apart.
Well, and you mentioned the beverages. I mean, the beverage space there's a million beverages. I mean, all over this show.
All over.
Beverages all over the place. But I'm understanding that the purchase of alcohol is way, way, way down. There's a lot more people looking at mocktails. So
Correct.
That's part of the reason I guess you're coming up with these recipes.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to offer a limited time offer, a spring special, a feature, without getting into bringing in 15 new ingredients to do it. You can utilize the lemonades, the teas, and maybe a few syrups, a few cool garnishes, lots of dehydrated, I don't know if you've seen that, a lot of dehydrated fruits that they're using for cocktails, but mocktails are great as well. And from a business standpoint, they're a great profit margin, and they set you apart. You can make good revenue off of them, and you can capture revenue that maybe you're not capturing from someone else.
There was some dried fruit over at the tahine booth, which had kind of a tahine, it was dredged in a little bit of tahine, and boy, that chamoy that they use, that's a big deal. That's delicious.
We have that at our test kitchen. We use it all the time. We have a Hispanic expert that works for us, and she goes out and shows the tahine. That's really driving traffic. And now in our, Springfield, Missouri, the Ozarks, we love those flavors, right? We love the bold, we love the spicy, we love the sweet, and it hits all those notes.
Are you in the test kitchen every day? Tell me what happens in there.
Yeah, I'm in there literally 5 days a week. We are extremely busy. We work about 2 months out with our customers, so they'll reach out, like I said, through their sales rep. They'll let us know what they're looking for, whether it's a new menu idea, maybe it's reducing their menu, its food cost is very high. We do trainings, and then we bring them in and we give them that really good experience. And what I like about our culinary center is they're not getting bothered with phone calls from the dishwasher calling in sick, or they're not having to show somebody where, the shrimp is in the freezer. We have them for 2 hours and we're really focused on their business, right? And that is what we're talking about. We're diving into whatever they want. We have other experts that work for us as well, whether it's a center of the plate, whether it's produce, whether it's menu design, and we tie all that together and help our customer. We're basically that third-party consultant that works for SGC, and we're able to provide that as a service, and it's just an amazing opportunity.
You guys do your own food show at least once a year, if not more.
We do several. We do a big one in September, and so that one is our largest one. And then we do what's called a culinary ideation, and so we're going into markets maybe we're not as well known. We were in Tulsa last week, went great. So it's a smaller version where it's kind of an introduction of what we can do. It's geared towards a certain customer base that we look at, and we try to bring them the ideation. So it's not that big food show. It's very intimate, and they're going to learn a lot while they're there, and we're going to have some good food, some good drinks, and good conversation. And we do school shows as well, and healthcare, and that's a big part of our portfolio.
Huge. Healthcare is huge, Even people who are visiting the hospital, working at the hospital, and recuperating in the hospital, they deserve to almost feel like they're at a hotel with a nice restaurant.
Absolutely, and that's something I do trainings on. So we'll come in and we'll talk about treating them not like patients, but like guests, customers, and changing your mindset. That's something I've done a lot with talking to our healthcare, our schools, where, that may be the most nutritious meal. We don't know what they're going through personally, health reasons, sick family. So we might be the bright spot of their day at that meal, So we make sure that grilled cheese is just a little bit meltier, a little bit crisp. That's what we want to do, right? Is make it as best we can. And then also the generation is changing. It's the baby boomers that are now going into assisted living. They've got to travel a lot more than their parents. So they're familiar with Korean rice bowls. They're familiar with gochujang or bibimbap. They know what these things are and they want it. So we have to obviously work within the health guidelines, but they're more adventurous than, let's say, my grandparents or my great-grandparents.
How long have you been with SGC?
I've been with them just for a year now. I worked for another company, and I came over, got the opportunity to join the team about a year ago, and it's been just amazing. Absolutely love it, and I love being in the Ozarks, right? So I got to travel. I still get to travel and learn a lot, but I'm working with my friends, my colleagues, our customers every day to make the Ozarks better.
All right, I ran into Chef Mike Jalili, and we had a conversation with my daughter Audrey about the cooler and what happens in the cooler, and a restaurant stays in the cooler. Absolutely. And she asked you, have you ever cried in the cooler? What was your answer?
Not crying, but I've probably been known to yell in the cooler back in my younger days when I maybe didn't have my temper under check like I did. With age comes wisdom, hopefully, for most of us. So I have definitely got myself out of trouble by going into the cooler and maybe venting a few things the way I felt about a situation. So.
Okay, all right.
It's a safe place.
That's exactly what we were saying. It is, and this is not my, it's your world and not mine, but I will never ask anyone what happened or how they felt better after they left the cooler. It's just a place for people to decompress a bit.
Absolutely, and we're seeing, I started in the 90s. It's 2025 now, and things have changed drastically. I think we have a better understanding of mental health, addiction, the hours that we work. It's a high-pressure job, and so taking better care of ourselves, I think, is crucial, and we're starting to see organizations, chefs that are, raising the flag going, hey, we got to take care of ourselves and, kind of know when to walk away as far as when our temper gets there or our health, everything from designing the right floor mat to the shoes to the way we eat, right? We have a tendency to eat pretty unhealthy for chefs, which is ironic, right? Because we're throwing some chicken strips in the fryer because we don't have time to sit down and eat a real meal. And so we're grabbing that cookie that's left over from a banquet. We're doing that kind of thing. So if we can learn to pace ourselves a little bit better, and I think the younger generation is doing a great job of figuring that out where we didn't, I'm very optimistic about that.
And bottom line, and our audience knows this, you work very hard. Servers work very hard. Restaurant owners and people who bust the tables work very hard so people like me can come sit down, have a really good meal and a good experience. So we need for everybody to realize this is not an easy job that you all do at all, but you love it. And that's why you're here.
Absolutely. It's the only thing I've ever done my whole life, right? I started out, like you said, as a dishwasher. I worked myself up to a prep cook, to a line cook, to a sous chef, to an executive chef. Now working for a broadline food distributor as their executive chef, where I get to take all that knowledge, all those things that I've done for the last 30 years and share that knowledge, almost in a teaching type, in a teaching way, right? So I'm able to go out there and share my passion. And you said it, if you don't have the passion and you don't have that love for it, it can be a really hard job. It's a hard job either way, but, it can burn you out if you're not careful. And so we just went and watched a demo and the chef was asked that and how he dealt with burnout. Sometimes it's making those hard choices and figuring out what works for your family. And, I think we're doing a better job. It's not completely there yet, but we're going to do a better job of understanding that, hey, it's okay to take a weekend off. When I took a job where I was working Monday through Friday, I had I call it survivor's guilt, where all my friends were still in the restaurants and I'm mowing my lawn at 2:00 on a Saturday. It was hard for the first year or so, It was kind of a weird feeling because you had done one thing for my whole adult life. And so the adjustment of that, I did definitely take advantage of it now, like being able to go to the movies on the weekends and things, but having a set schedule is great, but that's where I think that we have to do a better job as an industry and the customers do as well, right, of understanding the time, and they don't know what that server or that chef may have gone through. They may have had a rough day, right? So sometimes we can be very demanding, so maybe just a little more patience on both sides.
Never heard anybody. Well, Chef Aaron Gregory, executive chef at SGC Food Service. There, I said it, SGC Food Service. You've got places to go, people to see. All right, so I'll see you back in Springfield.
I'll see you back in Springfield. Thank you so much for your time.
Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? You have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.